Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. We've got a pretty cool video for you today. Today we've got budget handguns. We're starting in the 500 and under range, nothing above $500 on the table. We'll go over kind of a rough pricing. Zach's going to put in some pricing that he's found. And I say it'll vary because it depends if you're buying used or new also. So that's going to change the price up a little bit. Zach, you want to start us off with one?
Yeah, we broke them down to several categories. We have our... Well, we started with some revolvers just because some people like that option as well. So I figured that's what would be a good place to start. But right now we have the Heritage Rough Rider in 22 caliber.
Yep.
And we have the Taurus 357 Magnum.
Yep. And guys, we're not saying these are the best guns you should buy for your $500. We're giving you the options that we have here available to us. So obviously there's tons of guns out there under $500. These are some of what we think are better ones because we did buy them, obviously. But not all the best guns are going to be in here, but there is quite a few really good ones that we're going to put in. So.
Yeah. And we've done some comparisons. I'm going to put some numbers up on the screen as we go along to talk about what we liked about each gun, what we disliked, and how they compared to each other. That way you have at least kind of a baseline reference of, okay, this is the capacity, the size, smoothness, recoil, stuff like that.
And you'll have to excuse the audio, guys. We're not in our typical studio. We're actually at my house today. About to hear a car go by.
Yeah, we'll cut the audio for this part.
Yeah, we'll just be quiet.
It's not a car, it's a tractor.
Oh, it's probably the neighbor.
Oh,
yeah, that's my neighbor. He's going to see me with all my guns laying out on the table. He knows I do YouTube. His son watches our channel, actually.
okay.
He's a good guy. He brings me out with a bunch of hay for the animals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going to get a little farther. That'll be good to start. What were we about to say?
We're just going to start talking about particulars.
Okay, so we'll start with the Rough Rider. I'll let you grab the Rough Rider. Alright.
Alright, guys. The first one we have here is, of course, the Heritage Rough Rider. Now, this thing shoots 22. It's not bad for the weight of it. I think we took some weights earlier. This one weighed...
we got a list right here to help us out a little bit.
We took some weights earlier. This one weighed 1 pound and about 13 ounces. Not too bad for a 22. A little heavy, but that's also because a revolver, not necessarily a cheaper
It's all
pistol.
steel.
Yes. Now it's a little bit wider because it's a revolver, so you have to think if you're going to conceal carry, this may not be the best option.
They do make them with shorter barrels, guys. This one's got I believe it's a 4.5-inch barrel on this one. Now these, I'm not saying this is an ideal gun for any sort of self-defense, but these are only about $120 brand new at most gun shops. If you were to go on Arms List and buy one privately from an individual, I've gotten them as cheap as about $100. Maybe even find one cheaper than that. So this is a good option if you're trying to stay really, really cheap. And this is actually it's one of the cheapest guns on the table. And we're going to work our way up in all types of prices, but we've only got 2 revolvers, so we're getting the revolvers knocked out first, guys. But yeah, the Rough Rider is a good little gun. I've had a handful of these. I've done the fanning with them and all that, which is a little dangerous. but no, they're pretty good guns. You can get a couple thousand rounds out of them before you have to have mechanisms break. It's actually the trigger because this is plastic.
Really?
Actually, yeah, it is. It's plastic.
It's a plastic.
Yep, that's a plastic trigger, and then the mechanism. There's a spring in here. It's a little metal press spring thing that it breaks after a few thousand rounds usually. So, but it's a cheap gun.
Yeah, you paid $100 for it.
Exactly. This one was about 150 because it's got the brass and the different handle. And this one's actually, most of them are going to be a 6-shot. That's why we said 6 shots. This one's actually the 9-shot model. This one's a little harder to find. You don't see these as commonly, so that's why we just said the 6-shot, because that's more than likely what you're going to find.
Now, let's compare that to something like your Taurus 357 Magnum.
All right, here we go.
Now, that one has quite a bit more weight to it.
It's also a little more expensive. This is a older one. I believe it's around a 92-ish year model. These prices are going to vary, guys. So you might find one. I paid $500 for this one, so this is at the top of our budget. But you might be able to get one that's in a little bit rougher shape for right around $400, maybe even $300. But these things can go up to $700 or $800 in the right shape and right brand.
Yep.
What was the weight on this one?
That one's 2 pounds, 3.5 ounces. It's our only gun on the table that broke 2 pounds. It is by far the heaviest, but at the same time, it's also the biggest caliber.
Yeah, I mean 357. You're gonna want the weight. You don't want this thing weighing a pound when you're shooting a 357 Magnum.
Yeah, it causes you some recoil issues. Speaking of which, as far as the recoil goes, how would you say the 357 compares to the 22 as far as recoil?
As far as recoil. Now, if you're shooting the actual 357, you'll see a video that we shot, and that's got a 38 special in it. Because the 357 ammunition I have available is just hollow points, so we didn't want to shoot those because I just didn't want to shoot them. Well, comparing to the 22 on a scale of 1 to 10, this being we scored this?
We scored that a 1.
This is the 1 on recoil, which is the lightest, right?
Yeah, it's
this. Now, keep in mind we're categorizing this in with the calibers we have here, with the biggest being the 357. Because obviously there's Smith & Wesson 500s that you'd be like, that's the 10. Yeah. But comparing to all the guns on the table, this is a 10 on the recoil.
Yeah.
This thing has got some kick.
Yeah. We did a 1 to 10 for shooting the 38 special, where 10 would be like a 410 Judge or something like that.
Exactly. If you're familiar with that, that's about what the kickback is going to be like.
Yeah, that'd be the theoretical max. This 22 Heritage Rough Rider, it's probably a 1 on that same scale. That's just kind of give you an idea of where the top and bottom ends are. So if you're looking for a cheap revolver, Heritage Rough Rider, maybe somebody's first revolver, a little practice gun for your first pistol.
Yep. Great training gun also.
Definitely. It's cheap, simple. You kind of understand the basic functions of how the gun works. And it's a revolver. It's not necessarily like I said, a Glock or
exactly
like that.
So you got to keep that in mind. And like I said, we're not saying these are necessarily have to be carry guns, but just maybe a gun to have in the house, maybe to carry it, maybe for everything, multi-purpose. But yeah.
Yep. All right. Now, after the revolvers, we have the other 22.
We've got a Jennings 22. This is going to be the cheaper one out of the two 22s we're going to show you. Now this one,
this one's small.
This one is got a little bit of a bad reputation, maybe for prostitutes or gang banging type deal. Not much gang banging.
You can tell why. This thing will vanish in your hand. I think we did some measurements on the Jennings, and it came in at 5 inches in barrel length, only 3 1/4 inches tall, and only 3/4 of an inch thick.
5 inches the total length, not just the whole slide.
The whole slide is 5 inches. So this one is very easy to conceal and hide.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of recoil, being that it is a smaller one.
Yeah,
I think we rated that. What was that one on a 1 to 10?
You gave it a 2.5. No, wait, no. Yeah, you gave it a 2.5.
I gave this one a 2.5.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you said it fires 22, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
It was just a smaller gun, so it was worse than the other 22s that we compared it to. Speaking of the other 22s, we have the GSG Firefly.
And that one's also extremely loud.
Yes.
So this is the GSG. This one's actually Zach's GSG. I own one as well. They're very good guns. For the most part, very reliable. We've had a few little issues out of Zach's, but it's just been because I think it needs to be broken in. Because I bought mine used. I didn't buy mine brand new. Yeah. So there's no telling how many rounds have been through mine. And mine functions perfectly. This one's having a couple cycling issues, but I think that will get worked out. Got a 10-round magazine. It's got a fire safety select switch on both sides, so it's ambidextrous. That's the word I'm looking for?
Ambidextrous.
Yes, that word. Now this gun is also a very good training gun because, let me double check we're clear. We are clear. You see that it's cocked back. Now it's got a decocker on it, so instead of doing this and risking slipping and sending the round off, you have a decocker right here. You can press down, and it'll ensure that you don't set the gun off. If, let's say, you rack it because you're going to go check something out, and you get out there and you're like, oh, it's nothing. Well, instead of doing that or taking the mag out and doing that, if you can just decock it.
Yep.
Single stack mag. It's got a slide release on it. And we did do a breakdown video on taking this apart. It's not too complicated to take apart.
Yeah, it's very simple, clean. It's quite a bit bigger than the Jennings. This one's 8 inches long and about 5 1/8 in height. It's a little bit thicker, so it's a lot easier to carry the Jennings than it is to carry that one. But that one is a pretty cheap gun as well. It's only about $200.
Yep.
And it's lower on the recoil.
I think
it's
I scored it 1, right? Or
Yes.
1.5. This is like if you're not good at hitting with a pistol, you could hit almost anything with this pistol. If you're not pistol trained, this is a great starter because this one has no recoil. You can hit anything you want with this gun, no problem.
Yep. Yeah, it's similar in recoil to the Heritage Rough Rider without being a revolver.
Exactly.
And then after that, I think that's our only 22s on the table. After that, we go to the
380.
The 380. Yeah.
You want to grab that one?
We only got one.
Do the honors.
This one's in rough shape. I need to clean it up and take care of it. Actually, my buddy gave this to me and asked me if I could fix it for him. But we did some quick testing today, as is. Maybe end up doing a Cerakote or something on it. Now, this is similar in size to the Jennings.
Yes.
It's a very small
gun.
Yes. I mean,
a good comparison.
As you can see.
But that's a 380, guys.
Yeah,
that's a 380. So it's the same as a 9mm, but it's a shorter bullet.
Yep. And this one, I believe, because of that, had a worse recoil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very rough.
Yeah. The recoil on this one was not a fun experience. I think we rated the recoil on that one a 6 out of 10.
And that's just because, guys, it's you'll see on the video that they're real jumpy, and that's a lot to do with the trigger as well, because the trigger on these things is what you call a double action only. So when you cock it, it's not actually going to cock the firearm. When you pull the trigger, that's when it cocks it. So the trigger on this thing is probably like a 5 or 10 pound trigger. It's a heavy trigger. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a heavy trigger.
But yeah, that one's similar. It's about 5 1/4 inch long, slightly longer, 3 3/4 in height, so slightly taller, 3/4 inch thickness, similar thickness to the Jennings.
Oh.
But once again, thicker bullet overall.
Now, and price-wise, guys, I forgot to mention on these, if you go on Arms List, you can pick these up about $125, $150. These are usually between used anywhere from $150 to $200. If you buy it new, it can be a little more than that. I'm not sure on the new, but just to give you an idea, after we kind of forgot the price part.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of data.
Part of the budget.
I'm going to give you guys some charts as we go along, as we talk about this stuff. And you can screenshot the charts later. It's just quick measurements we did here. We weighed it on a kitchen scale. We measured it with a measuring tape. It's not, micrometer level stuff, but it's to give you an idea how they compare.
All right,
so then we have our biggest selection, which is...
This is our cheapest one right here.
Yes, a whole bunch of 9mm options.
We'll start with the most expensive, and then we'll get down to the cheapest. The most expensive, you guys probably already are looking on the table. It's going to be the Glock 19. You want to show this one off, Zach?
Yep. Definitely. As you can tell, this one's quite a bit bigger than the other ones we were working with. Still very smooth. I love the handle.
Very reliable gun.
Yeah, I love the weight balance of a good Glock.
Yeah, they're balanced well. The recoil's not too bad. They're a little jumpy,
Yep.
but they're not that bad, guys. And it's got a good magazine capacity. They are on the high end spectrum. I mean, new, sometimes you can find them for about $475 at a gun shop, but used, if you went on Arms List, anywhere from $450 to $550. So this one's kind of pushing that boundary of the $500 budget, but it can be done. You just have to be patient and look and take your time, and you can find one.
This one has our biggest capacity. Most of the guns we have here are not double stack; they're single stack. This is one of the double stacks. It has a 15 round magazine, so that makes it a lot easier as far as like you don't have to reload as often, or you don't have to swap the mags as often.
Exactly.
It is one of the heavier ones. It's 1 pound and 7 ounces as far as like just for the 9mm. So it is, and like I said, it's longer, it's bigger, it's got a thicker handle. It's easier for a carry. It's not as concealable as some of the other ones.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a Glock, man. It's gonna be reliable. It's not gonna jam. It's gonna.
All right. So next up, this one is the Bersa. This is the BP9. This is actually one I just picked up when I bought the crappy little. What was that? The SC. The one that's getting there.
CPX2.
CPX2. I bought it when I bought the CPX2, which we did a torture test. If you didn't see that video, go check it out. Now this one was a pretty good little gun when we shot it. We shot this one quite a bit the day or a couple days after I bought it. This one's got a 8-round single stack mag.
Yeah.
And this one functions great. It actually feels good in your hands. It's on the skinnier side. What's the thickness of this one, Zach?
I think that was one of the 1-inch ones.
Okay, that sounds right.
That's actually 7/8.
7/8,
So
and that's for that handle there, guys. And so this is a great little concealed carry because you can see it's pretty small. It's actually a little smaller than the 19.
Yep.
And single stack, so this will fit in your waistband very good. In terms of reliability, this one's constructed with pretty good materials, I think. Pretty honestly similar to the Glock on the actual upper. It doesn't feel cheap like the well, we'll get to that gun, but this one I paid $280 brand new, so I'm assuming used you can probably get them there from $200 to $250 on Arms List, so pretty affordable.
Yep. And as far as like weight is concerned, it's like 2 ounces less than the Glock, and it's a shorter barrel, shorter overall, so it's easier to conceal carry and it weighs a little bit less.
What was the recoil we rated on that
The
one?
recoil on that one was still kind of high. It was a 6.
A 6.
Yeah, so it was similar. It was on the higher end of our recoil for these for the 9mm section.
Yep.
Then we have my truck gun, my Springfield XDS. Now this one, I like. This is just one of the first ones I had, so I practiced the most with it. So I carry it in my truck with me. This single stack as well holds 8 to 9, depending on which magazine I have inside of it. It's also about a 250, I think, new, so it's probably a little bit less right now. As far as the weight is concerned, it's similar to the Glock as far as weight, so it actually is about 2 ounces more than the Bersa. It has less recoil. We rated the Bersa at about a 6. We rated that one about a 5, so it's not as bad. It's pretty smooth overall. It's quite a bit of tension on when we tried to rack it, though, compared to like some of the other 9mm or some of the 22. But overall, it's like 6 inches long. It's similar thickness, 7/8. It's only 4 and 7/8 tall, so it concealed carries easy enough if you need to shove in your waist.
Oh, absolutely, because it's still on the skinnier side, being a single stack magazine.
Yeah.
The Glocks are going to be a little on the thicker side, and this GSG, they're actually on the thicker side. I have big hands. I do like bigger grips better, but if you're really trying to hide it, then these are a better route.
If you're trying to feel comfortable walking around with your gun at first, you might want to go with like a 7/8 thick, one of those skinnier ones like the Bersa or the Springfield.
Yeah.
And then other than that, we have 2 more. We have the Glock 43.
I'll let you go over the Glock, and then I'll hit the Taurus.
So of course we have another Glock. This one's the skinnier single stack version. This one is, I think it's actually 1 inch thick, so it's a little bit thicker than the other ones that we've been. Or no, actually this one's 7/8 as well.
7/8, okay.
So similar thickness to the other two. This is just the Glock version. This one probably weighs the least amongst these. Is 1 pound 2 ounces.
Okay.
So it's actually almost 5 ounces lighter than the XDS and 3 ounces lighter than the Bersa, which was surprising to me. It had only 5 on the recoil, so similar to the Springfield as far as the recoil was concerned.
Recoil's not too bad.
Yep, it was they're about the exact same height. Or no, slightly taller, shorter length, but mine has the thing on the end. Threading at the end. So basically the exact same as the Springfield, just slightly better as far as like it weighs less, and it's a Glock versus a Springfield kind of thing. So preference there, but like I said, weighs less, same magazine capacity, same recoil rating, and probably easier to conceal carry.
Now
we got the Taurus.
Yep, I got the Taurus here. Now I don't have, I did have a high point pistol, which I'm sure a lot of you guys were probably hoping to see the high point on this video, being that it is, well actually they're a little more expensive now, guys. The high points used to be brand new for like 120 bucks. Now I'm seeing them for 150, 160, sometimes, and some even as high as almost $200. And the quality has not changed, the gun has not changed. Don't go spend $150, $200 on a high point. Do not do it. Just if you're going to do that route, if you're really going to do a high point route, go and spend get a used one for $100 bucks. But I don't personally recommend them. They're really clunky, because there's guns here, guys, that you can get just as cheap as a high point almost. What's an extra $20 or $30, guys? You can save that in a couple of days.
Yeah, for real reliability.
Exactly, and not to mention holsters. It's very hard to find a good holster for high point because they're so fat and clunky. Which, if you've seen them, you know they're ugly as well. But
I mean, when you're talking, if somebody's trying to charge you $200 for a high point or $250 for the Springfield or the Bersa, get the Springfield or the Bersa. They're just so much better.
This will fill in kind of a gap between a $100 gun and something like Zach's XD or this Bersa here. This one here is the Taurus. This is the G2C 9mm. This is a really good little one. It's a double stack mag, 12 rounds, plus 1 if you wanted. Now this is a little cheaper build as far as the barrel. The barrel isn't as, you can just tell it's not as good quality as something like this or even the Glock. But brand new, I paid like $220 for this brand new. Used, you can get these probably for around $150 to $200. If you see one for $150, I'd snatch it up, because generally speaking, something like this, when they're listed real low, they'll sell very quickly. It's a pretty good gun. We've shot this one quite a bit, and it's never given me a single issue since it was new. I've shot it hundreds of times, and it's obviously a little beat up, because this is one of the ones my wife uses, a lot, and she puts it in her purse and it gets scratched up. But it's actually it's a good gun.
Yeah. Overall, it's about the same weight as my Springfield. It did have the worst recoil of the ones we tested today. We didn't fire the 410, but it had a 6.5. So it's actually like, I think it was part of what you said. It's a slightly cheaper build.
Yes.
And it's the 12 round. It's not got the same kind of weight. So when you fired it, you had more of a recoil. So in conclusion, we have quite a few different options here. It depends on what you're trying to spend and what you're trying to do. We'll put some charts up to show you the lightest guns versus the heaviest guns and what we rated the recoil at. And we did some quick measurements. And like I said, it's not perfect. It's not down to the millimeter. But it gives you an idea of how the Ruger compares to the Firefly, which, you know.
Yeah, it'll help give you guys a general idea. And I think this was a good variety as well because it's literally from the cheapest to something that might be the top of the $500 budget and seeing which ones feel better and stuff. So I think it'll help you guys out a lot if you're shopping, especially for Christmas time. Maybe you're buying for your wife or maybe for your husband or something.
Yeah. You want to get him something, like you said, he got his wife a purse gun in the Taurus. Yep. But maybe, you know, looking back on the recoil, maybe he's like, okay, maybe I should have gone with the Versa because it has less recoil or something like that.
Yep. She uses this one a lot too now, actually.
See, she likes that one.
Yeah, the Versa's a nice one. I recommend that Versa, guys. If you're looking to spend like 280, if you got about $300 to spend on a pistol, and you're looking for a brand new one, this Versa is, out of all these, this is the one I would choose. I really like it. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, it's got good stats. All right, we'll put some charts up on the screen, but hopefully, you know, you guys enjoy your holidays. You get to pick you out a nice cheap gun. You get to take it out and test shoot it. You can send us videos in if you want to show us some of how your stuff performs. Because like I said, you always can have issues with these guns when you're the one buying it. We've been shooting these for a little while, so we kind of know how they perform. We worked our way through the issues like the the GSG not firing. Like when I first got it, and it kept having light primer strikes.
That was hilarious.
Oh god, it made some hilarious blooper videos, but it freaked me out when I got it. I'm like, this is a brand new gun. Why
is it broken?
I just paid for a background check and everything else to buy this gun at the gun store, and now it doesn't work. And that's something to consider too. I mean, if you're going to buy a gift for somebody, like I said, like your wife, maybe don't get the Firefly if you have to work it in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, just some different options. That's all I've got. You got anything else for me, pal?
Be sure you like, subscribe, guys. Check out the merch store. Link will be in the description. And happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
I'm gonna get busy with it right now. I'm gonna get busy with the witty right now. I'm gonna get busy with it right now.